I still can't hear you. No, I can't. I can't hear you.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you all can hear me now. But just in case, third time is the charm. Just in case no one's heard me before, this is Roundabout Sports. We are presented by Filthy Games Room in St. Charles, Missouri, located at 3479 Newtown Boulevard. This is the 96th episode of Roundabout Sports. We are presented by Interstate 70 Sports Media as well. It has been a crazy day. I'm telling you right now. I'm hoping,
Yes, I
Casey,
can hear you.
tell
I
me
can
you.
hear you. Yes, I can hear you now. Finally.
Hallelujah. Okay, it
Yeah.
is all
Thank you.
good. It is
Thank
good.
you.
Okay. Look,
Yeah.
that's okay. So it's always a little,
Yeah.
this was on my end, things happen. But the
Mhm.
best part about life is we just adapt and change and keep going.
Yes. Yes, we do. We do.
So, ladies and gentlemen, joining me this week on Roundabout Sports is my dear friend Casey Thomas, great sports personality, great guy in the St. Louis area, very well known among so many St. Louisans. Casey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fine. Thank you for asking. How about you?
I'm doing all right. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate it. And I thank you more importantly for being on the show and for being patient through all this. That is what means the most to me.
Yeah.
So, what I was going to talk about to kick off the show is the fact, this upcoming Tuesday is the MLB trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
And, the Cardinals, they're right now kind of having a mixed bag of a season. I mean, they've been doing better lately as of, post Mother's
Yeah.
Day, if you will.
Yeah,
There's
they have.
What's that?
I say yes. Yes, they have. They have been doing better. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to ask you, what do you think the Cardinals' biggest need is if they're even going to make a move heading into, this post All-Star break?
Well, I just think they need a little bit more focus, a little more inspiration and motivation because uh, as much as I really, really want them to win, even if they don't win, I've always been a Cardinals fan ever since I was young. So I think all you need is just a little more focus. So it's like they've won like 11, like they have 11 rings, 11 World Series, 11 World Series time champions, and I think all you need is just a little more focus. That's what really is really about, and consistency as well. Yeah.
No, absolutely. And, rumors have been swirling now that, one of the thing is, with the Cardinals pitching. Now, it's been a very interesting situation with their pitching this season. Jordan Montgomery's gone. He left last year. Jack Flaherty's gone.
Yeah.
So they bring in Kyle Gibson. They bring back Lance Lynn. Wainwright retired. So you got, and Steven Matz is injured. So they've really been throwing a lot of guys out there. They've had 7 different starters this season. But you have, you got your Palante. Oh, and first off, I want to welcome my dear friend Jimmy Harris. Jimmy, thank you so much for tuning in. It has been already a wild show, to say the least, but thank you. It is, God bless you and the Independent St. Louis Wrestling Hall of Fame. Thank you. But with all the pitching situations that the Cardinals have, a big rumor is swirling that they are tied to Blake Snell, the 2-time Cy Young Award winner. The thing of it is, he struggled. Blake Snell has struggled this season. But he could still be a fantastic option for the Cardinals. What are your thoughts on Blake Snell potentially joining?
Well, not much, but I'd say he definitely has potential. I think what they're doing is looking for the right picture. That's what it is as far as Blake Foster. Yeah, I think he has a lot of potential. I think he could definitely be the right he could be the pitcher, for the Cards as well. For every because you have your main pitcher, you always have a second one like a backup or even a third. But Blake Foster, I think he could be the one. He could definitely be the one.
I was
Yeah.
gonna say, lost in when I talked about all these pitchers that the Cardinals have rotated. We forget about the current ace that the Cardinals have, and that is Sonny Gray.
Oh yeah.
Who right now, he has a 3.54 ERA, but I mean he's been nothing short of fantastic. He's 10-6, in 18 starts. He struck out 131 batters. He's probably the most reliable guy that the Cardinals have coming out of that rotation, but it's not a bad rotation. Blake Snell's having a very so-so year. I mean, ERA is not doing him any favors, but he's 0-3 with a 5.83 ERA and only 46 strikeouts. There's always that ceiling of a new environment where a guy can bounce back at a different place. And one thing I've learned, the Cardinals seem to be a really good spot for that when it comes to having players, find second life as a part of their organization. So, That's what I noticed about that. But I think the Cardinals, pitching is definitely a big, pitching's a big question mark. Right now, I think hitting wise, it's just trying to get guys healthy again. Get
Mhm.
your Tommy Edmond healthy again, especially. And hopefully Jordan Walker finds a swing and comes back up from AAA.
I hope so.
Now,
I really hope
oh
so
yeah.
too.
Switching gears now. Now you are a big time fan of the St. Louis Battlehawks of the UFL.
Yep.
I wanted to
Well,
get your
well, well,
thoughts.
I well, I actually I do support the Battlehawks, but the bad part is that I've never been to a game yet. I've only watched them a couple of times on television. I mean, but as much as I support them and whatnot, I watch them on TV. I still haven't gone to a game yet. I'm trying to. I really am.
I understand. Well, what does it mean to you? You and I both experienced it when the Rams left. So, what does it mean to you to have the Battlehawks back, to have professional football back in St. Louis?
Well, it's still football regardless, and I've I've been a sports fan ever like I said ever since I was a young child. I mean I always support I always like sports, everything from the Cardinals to the Rams, the Blues, of course, and and the another thing part is the other part is well I still support the Rams though, but I also got to support the Battlehawks because man I'm from St. Louis, born and raised, and the Battlehawks well regardless if it was professional, unprofessional, like have major league or minor league. Like we even have minor league baseball as well. I mean, like even in Springfield, Missouri, like the Springfield Redbirds. I even have a T-shirt of the it was old school, but I still have it. But the Battlehawks. I mean, it's still football. It's still fun to watch, regardless.
Right.
Yeah.
So, what got you? You said St. Louis born and raised, but what got you into sports?
Well, ever since I was like 4 years old, I was like watching basketball first. Though basketball was always my
Ooh,
first sport
okay.
watching. And my first sport. I mean, I started watching. I started playing when I was young, and and then football, and then football, hockey, soccer, especially soccer as well, which is well, not well, just a popular sport, but not here in America though. But it's like we're trying to make it popular though, which is why we have our own soccer team for the MLS. And ever since then, it's like you know what, I like sports. I mean, I even tried. I remember as a kid, I remember playing sports, playing basketball and football with my brother. I dreams of making it, but of course you gotta be conditioned though. But still growing up music has always been my thing though, but I still followed sports at the same time. It could have, as they say, it could have been me out there in the field. I could have been, you know, a basketball star. I could have been the next, Michael Jordan or the next Kurt Warner or whatnot. I'm still a Kurt Warner fan, Michael Jordan fan. I'm still a Rams fan as well. See, yeah, still got it. I'm,
I was gonna
never let
say,
it.
look at my background. I got the Super
I
Bowl
think.
limited edition Super Bowl 34 seat cushion.
Well, look what I got.
Oh my goodness, I got that is actually really sick. I got a beer stein from the Rams Super Bowl downstairs. Well, it's my dad's, but that's beautiful, man.
It is. It is. Thank you.
Of
So
course.
as I got a lot. I mean, it's like I mean, I still have Rams, Blues, and Cardinals because growing up, that has been like my signature teams. My three signature teams. But I even did a lot of like research, like of what St. Louis was back then versus when my childhood all the way up until now. Like back because before we had the Cardinals, or before there was the Cardinals, they were the Browns, and then they became the Cardinals around like between like it started in 1892, I believe,
Mhm.
as the Browns, and then it became the Cardinals like years later. So It's always been like that, and also the football team was also the Arizona Cardinals, but they were our Cardinals before they moved to Arizona, and they've been working. They have tried so hard to put a football team. We even had the basketball team as well. The
The
Atlanta
Hawks.
Hawks, they were in the St. Louis Hawks before they yeah before they moved to Atlanta. But of course, it didn't last long. But they won the first ring here. Let's not forget that they did. They won the first ring as the St. Louis Hawks, and I've also did research on the Rams. Although see, it's like by the time I was like a year after I was born, that's when the Rams came to St. Louis in 1995 and went into the 1999 season. They won their first ring, or well, the Super Bowl 2000. I was like years before, or like a couple. It was like literally 10, or like 10 or 11 days before my sixth birthday. I remember watching that. I was so happy that they won, and I
Oh yeah.
yeah, and and the Cardinals. Well, when the Cardinals won the World Series in 2006, I was 12 years old. This town went nuts. I was so happy that they won, and then they won again in 2011. I was 17, my senior year in high school. It was amazing. I could never stop supporting the Ram. I could never stop supporting the Cardinals. I could never stop supporting the Rams, and even the Blues. Even the Blues has been around for for, for so long, since 1967, right? And we and the first time we won a ring, we won our first ring was in 2019. That was amazing. I would never ever forget it. It was history made, and I remember watching it at the bar because let's say if I was going to go to this blues themed it was a St. Louis blues themed restaurant called Blue Note. It shut down during the pandemic in 2020, I believe. I was going to go there, but I figured the last time was this other bar called the Hall Pass. But before it was the Hall Pass, it was called Phil Box North. That's where they and I figured I was going to go to this bar. Then they won. I was like, I have a Rams juju. Sorry, Blues. I have a Blues juju that I always stuck with. Let's say if I go here, if I stay home, or if I go to the bar, or if I go to the game, like what can I do to make sure that they win? Even if I say win or lose, I'm still a fan either way.
Right.
So
And so, it's funny you bring that up because, yes, it is the Atlanta Hawks, for example. The last time the Hawks won a ring was in St. Louis. The Blues, they didn't win their first one until 2019. Rams didn't win a Super Bowl till they were here in St. Louis. Cardinals have the second most rings in MLB history.
just to have yeah.
And, this gives me the perfect chance. And I don't know if you own this book, but I'm fortunate to own a copy of it. Shameless plugs. Why the hell not? I didn't write it, but a dear friend of mine did. And that's St. Louis Sports Memories, Forgotten
Oh,
Teams and Moments from America's Best Sports Town. Ed Wheatley, a dear friend, longtime sports historian, absolutely fantastic guy to talk to in all things St. Louis sports. What I love about it is it's not just about, this thing, you were bringing it up about the Rams, the baseball Cardinals, Blues, the main ones, the main teams. But
yes,
we're talking about the Big Red in here, the Browns, the
yes,
Hawks, the
yes,
Spirits, the original
yes.
St. Louis
Oh, oh,
Steamers.
oh, yes. The St. Louis Spirit of St. Louis. Yes, I almost forgot about that. And of course the St. Louis Steamers. Yeah, until I think they leave or they just shut down. I
They
forgot.
they just the Steamer they folded. And we got I want to say shout out to my friends at the MASL, to the St. Louis Ambush.
Ooh,
And I guess, I'd be remiss without saying it, to their rivals, who we also cover here at I 70, the Kansas City Comets. So, yes,
oh,
we got, but yes, for St. Louis purposes, St. Louis Ambush actually play not too far away from me at the Family Arena.
oh.
Fantastic environment, man. I tell you, it is great. I wanted to ask you, what is one of your favorite experiences at a St. Louis sporting event?
I would say um my favorite St. Louis sports experience will have to be my first official Blues game in 2015, the last game of the season. against the
Ooh.
Minnesota Wild. I was 21 years old, and it was amazing. I
Okay.
mean, I'm glad, and being that it was the last game of the season, I'm like, I had to be there, and I'm glad I
Right.
went. It was amazing, and as I went once, I can go again. Yeah, and also, my, my second favorite experience when I brought my mom with me. Like I'm like it was my 28th birthday. I'm like I want okay like I want to take it to the two tickets to the Blues game for me, one for me and one of my mom, and it, she loved it too. I'm like I want to go to a Blues game. I also want to bring my mom with me as well. You know, we're both sports fans, but she's more into football. You know, so football, baseball, mostly football. But it's okay if it's sports, we still watch it no matter what.
Uh, my favorite. I'm trying to think of my favorite St. Louis sports. You know what's crazy? There's been so many because I've been to hundreds of Cardinals games. I went to many Rams games, been to a few Blues games, and I'm a season ticket holder with the Battlehawks.
Oh,
Yet to go to a City SC game though, but I will say for me, it's kind of almost a tie. So when I was in fifth grade, I was a part of a select group of students at my elementary school to perform "God Bless America" at Bush Memorial Stadium.
mhm,
So and that was '05, so that was the last season there. And then in 2008, with my middle school band, we performed the national anthem at current Bush Stadium. So I've
mhm.
performed at two different Bush stadiums,
Oh,
which I mean, look, I'm not trying to be boastful. I'm definitely not better than anybody else, but I just feel proud knowing I can die on that platform saying that I was able to perform at two Bush stadiums. And I can vividly remember both of them. That's the most important thing. But, you know, those were those such great memories. I mean, I've seen so many greats play at Bush Stadium. Well, both. I've seen Willie McGee, Albert Pujols, Mark McGuire,
mhm,
Rowan Edmonds, Larry Walker, Howday. The list goes on. Let's face it.
mhm.
Like it's endless.
And yeah, and another experience I had though was at at the Edward Jones Dome, right? Well, it's now the Dome of America Center, but it was the
Right.
Edward Jones Dome. They decided to invest in the dome when it was preseason 2008 for the Rams, right? They were 2-2. They were playing against the Ravens. They won that game, and I remember like dancing, you know, trying to bring spirit to the Rams because I'm like, let's go, guys, come on, like let's. I mean,
Right.
yeah, we still got to do this, and I don't know why some people say that they're glad that the Rams left. For me, I was I was devastated because I could never
Oh,
I could never
absolutely.
imagine I could never imagine St. Louis without the Rams because I mean they were talking about building a stadium near the riverfront and they were going to call it National Cardinal Field. They were going to call it that or call it North Riverfront Stadium. I was looking forward to that, but but that's like the main reason why they left because the owner decided that we wanted to build a stadium near the riverfront, but he wanted to use everyone's tax dollars to do it. But of course they didn't approve though, especially not by the I don't know by the city but whatnot. So he bought land on in L.A. So that's the main reason why they moved though. So for 2015 was the last season, so, and I begged them to stay. I still supported the Rams even after they left, even when they left for LA. I wanted them. I still wanted them to stay. We all wanted the Rams to stay so bad. Now they're talking about bringing the NFL back to St. Louis, but even if they did, I'm still a Rams fan no matter what. I have a good friend of mine who's from St. Louis, but she's the Cardinals fan, but she's a hardcore New Jersey Devils fan, and I couldn't help but respect that because hey, you like what you like. I like what I like. And I have a lot of Rams stuff. I'm still a Rams fan. I still
So
support the
I
Blues.
was going to say, so no matter what, you're still going to cheer on the Rams, even
Yeah,
through thick and thin. So you must have been very happy a couple years ago when they won the Super Bowl
yes,
over the
yes,
Cincinnati Bengals.
yes. I was very happy.
So let me ask you this then about the Rams. Aaron Donald, who to me is one of the greatest defensive tackles of all time, interior D lineman of all time, announced he was retiring. You know, he's not, it's not like he's 37 years old and has been playing for, 18 years. He's still, I feel as if from the outside looking in that he's got years left in him. What was your reaction initially to hearing, Big AD deciding to call it a career after 10 seasons?
Well, if someone feels that way, it's like race. I feel if someone feels like they want to retire, well, I can help understand and respect that. I I mean, especially after 10 years, I feel like 10. In my personal opinion, I feel like 10 years is not really enough. But if that's how they feel, that's fine. But personally, I feel like he can still keep going though. Even Tom Brady retired. He retired like many times, and he came back. So I'm not saying
Yep.
he's no. I mean, Aaron Donald's no Tom Brady, but I feel like he is going to come back. But I'll just say just wait and see. In the meantime, let him enjoy his retirement.
You know, how, and my dad's saying here, my favorite St. Louis sports event was Jose Oquendo's famous home run against the San Francisco Giants. So here, Babs, Barbie, thank you so much for tuning in. Hers is being at Enterprise Center when the Blues won the
Barbie,
cup. It was so loud.
yeah,
Oh, yeah,
literally,
Barbie. Babs was telling me she is a good friend of yours, by the
yes, he
way.
is. Hey, Barbie, how are you? I haven't seen you in a while. Mm.
It's always great. She is, I want to say she's a part of the I-70 Sports Media team, and she has done so much for us. I could never thank her enough for everything she does. God bless her for sure. Um, you know, I think the worst, when I look at AD retiring, I think it is kind of the smart move on his. First of all, I'll be honest, I thought he was going to retire after the Rams won the Super Bowl. He
That's why
waited it out for a
I thought
year.
so. I thought so too. I thought so, but he stayed. Well, I'm glad he stayed. But now he's officially retired. Well, I mean, I still support him. I mean, I say once a Ram, always a Ram. Once a Cardinal, always a Cardinal. Once a Blue, always a Blue. Even a Battle Hawk. And also my second favorite football team is of course the Kansas City Chiefs. And my second favorite baseball team, Kansas City Royals. You know, I mean,
Right.
they're not St. Louis, but they are Missouri. I support them too, especially 9 years ago when they won the World Series in 2015. Let's not forget, like 30 years earlier though, they won. There
They,
was the interstate rivalry of the
yeah.
Cardinals and the Royals, and the Royals won that. They won that ring. They won that ring in '85, and then fast forward 30 years later in 2015, they won the second ring, the first ring in 30 years. And I supported the Royals actually, and I visited Kansas City that same year. I mean it was amazing. I met a few good Royals fans. There was one guy who said he didn't like the Cardinals. I was like, that's okay. If you don't like it, that's all right. But hey, you like what you like. If you don't, you don't.
You know, to talk about the Rams just like last time. Oh, AJ saying, I've been to the Enterprise Center and my friend is a secretary for the Blues hockey team and it brings music to my ears. No, I'm not talking about Roseanne. But I want to say the reference to that and why he says that. So every week we have a podcast called the Wrestle Talk Podcast that I'm associated with, and fantastic group every Tuesday night. And they always do a national anthem at the beginning of the show. And it's the Roseanne national anthem that she did in the again with the Yankee at Yankee Stadium. And yes, it is absolutely atrocious then as it is now.
Yeah, yeah.
But we talked about AD retiring. If I remember correctly, now that just leaves, I think, let's see. I know Jake McQuaid, Johnny Hecker, Rob Havenstein, Troy Hill, and Greg DeLay. That might be, okay, six, because Rodney McLeod is still on Cleveland and he's going to retire at the end of this year, he announced.
Oh,
So
he
right
will.
now, we have six remaining St. Louis Rams active in the NFL, which is crazy to think about because they only left in 2015.
Yeah.
Like, And I'm gonna say this right now, and since you've been a Rams fan, in the sense longer post St. Louis than I have, I feel like would attribute very strongly to this. Looking at Todd Gurley's stats,
Oh yes.
I mean, seeing how he still matches up as far as touchdowns and such, he
Mm-hmm.
could have been one of the greats. Like, and that's just my opinion, but seeing his usage, seeing his yardage, just statistically speaking, at the rate he was going, Todd Gurley was down to be one of the greats, at least of the past 25, 30 years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah. I yeah, that's yeah. I feel like he could have. He's. I think that he still has the potential, but it's debatable now. I feel like I think he can still do it. I honestly believe that Tiger can still make it. He could be one of the greatest.
Now, I'm going to give you this, Casey. You had mentioned about we've talked about all different kind of pro sports teams, minor sports teams, things of that nature in St. Louis. Would St. Louis has a new MLS team. It's their second year, City SC.
Yes.
Last year, they exceeded so many expectations, both in attendance and in just record wise. Finishing at the top of the conference. Unfortunately, they didn't win the MLS Cup, but you
They did.
know they've had a regression this year.
Mhm.
Um, Here's the thing: fans are this city was overwhelmingly receptive to
Look, yearly.
having an MLS team. So here's my question to you. Even with the Battlehawks, do you think the city of St. Louis would be more receptive towards a new NFL team or a current NFL team that moves, or to a new or current NBA team?
No, okay. No, no, that is definitely a good question. I would just say this. I would I say that they would be more excited for a new NFL team or current NFL team return to St. Louis than basketball because we haven't had a basketball team in years, and I think people really like it that way. But people feel like St. Louis is not basketball. Is not really a basketball city at all. They're more in the football, hockey, baseball, and soccer. It's mostly St. Louis is really like a soccer city. Why do you think we have more soccer fans go to the family arena or down in Benton for the St. Louis football club? Heard of St. Louis football club, right?
Yeah.
Basically, and and also I think they're more excited for football though. Well, either football or soccer than basketball. That's the main reason why.
Okay.
Yes.
I think for the sake, I mean, in the UFL, for example, Battlehawks by far had the highest television ratings. They had the highest attendance rating, or they had the highest attendance as KC had to step out briefly. Um, and we have the good doctor, Jeremy Housewright, tuning in. He says St. Louis will never get either the NBA or NFL again. The NFL wants nothing to do with St. Louis, and NBA doesn't even have a city on the radar. I feel like the NBA is definitely talking about expansion. There's definitely teams and cities out there that the NBA wants to go to. If I know that we've had some NBA moves in the past. Casey, welcome back, buddy. So
That's
I
all
was
about.
just saying, I was just bringing up the good doctor Jeremy Housewright's points about how he says the STL will never get either again, which you know I feel like in a crazy way, I almost feel like it's more likely they would get an NBA team, but I feel like because UFL, they got the best ratings, best attendance
Yes.
for the Battlehawks, but it's something about you. This is twice. an NFL team has left St. Louis.
Hmm.
The football Cardinals left in
Yes,
'87,
yes.
and then St. Louis Rams left, or the Rams
In
general
20
left
yeah,
in
in
2015.
2015, and
So
I
I'm
was
saying to myself,
yeah.
you know, I
Yeah.
don't think, because there were rumors that the Chargers would have come to St. Louis. There were
Hmm.
rumors that originally the 1995 expansion, which saw the Jaguars and Panthers, originally one of those teams were going to come to St. Louis, but they voted against it in favor of Los Angeles, the Rams moving. And, I, I do agree with Jeremy on the point that the NFL doesn't really want anything to do with St. Louis, because especially with Goodell being the commissioner, and he says, quote, Seattle will get a team, Nashville, Vegas, even KC would get an NBA team well before STL. And see, that's
Hmm.
why I'm talking about why STL would be on the radar, though, because Seattle, look, it's gonna break my heart knowing as long as Seattle goes back and it's a Supersonics, I'm fine. Mine was heartbroken when the Supersonics left as a kid.
Yeah.
Um, Nashville, I can totally see getting an NBA team.
Yeah.
Vegas, I can.
Okay. When you say
Um,
okay, Nashville, oh, yeah, definitely. That would definitely have a
I
good
mean,
entertaining
and
rivalry.
KC is an interesting option too because they've had much like St. Louis, they've had the NBA in the past. Um,
Okay,
and
that I did not know about that.
this is a true point that Jeremy brings up as well. Originally, there was a time in the early '90s where the New England Patriots were going to move to St. Louis.
Oh,
And Kraft stepped in, ownership moved in. There was a lot of litigation and things that prevented that from happening. But yes, the Patriots that we've basically grown to love to hate for the past 20 something years, we could have ended up cheering for them, which
well,
is weird to think about. Now, here's
well.
one I know is never going to happen.
Oh,
There is no way the Chiefs are ever going to
no,
St. Louis.
no way. No, no. Keep the Chiefs
No,
in KC. Keep the Chiefs in KC. Okay, keep the Royals in KC because it's not. Look, I don't. I couldn't imagine KC. I could not imagine Kansas City without the Royals or the Chiefs. Keep them there. We wanted the
they're
Rams.
not moving.
Of course, they're not moving.
Or at least, or let's put it this way. Actually, hang on. Let's put it this way. They're not leaving the Kansas City, I guess, metro area. I'm gonna put it this way, because guess what? There's no major city in America that the Chiefs are moving to, and the same with the Royals. They're not, and there's neither of them would go to St. Louis. The Chiefs, hell no. There is too many reasons. Now, um, with Hunt talking about the whole deal. I want your take, Casey, on the whole stadium situation because you're adamant about the Royals and Chiefs staying in Kansas City, where they're at. What is your take on the whole stadium situation with both these teams?
Well, all I can say is, well, I mean, I visited Kansas City, and I know just like us, we're passionate about our teams. They are highly passionate about their team. I couldn't imagine KC without the Royals or the Chiefs, especially the stadium situation. Like, or let's say if they wanted to build a new stadium, which I don't. I mean, it's not a bad idea. I mean, we had to think about like back in 20 no in 2005, right, when they decided to bring down Bush Day and build a new Bush. Remember that? And it took like
Mm-hmm.
it took it would and it took none not less than a year for them to build. They had to work they had to work nonstop. Of course until quitting time, but like they really work nonstop. So let's say if you want to bring down Kauffman Stadium or Arrowhead just to build a new one up or at least remodel it or whatnot, I won't mind that at all. So I mean, if that's what they want to do, let's say if they want to build a brand new stadium or try to remodel it, that's fine. But that that's my what I think though. That's what I think.
Well, both stadiums are among the old, or interestingly enough, yes, both stadiums are among the oldest in their respective leagues. Doesn't mean they're out of date. I will
No.
say the capacity for Kansas City Royals at the K is extremely low. But it's a beautifully designed stadium. It's very well known. But last Friday, um, the governor of Kansas, Laura Kelly, she made a move that will enable the state of Kansas to lure the Royals and Chiefs from Missouri. She signed the legislation, and it's going to help both teams pay for new stadiums if they decide to head to head west, basically. Um, this is the thing: the Chiefs have every intent to remain at Arrowhead, or at least on the property. They've extended the lease in a renovated facility. And, we all know about the Jackson County proposals that fell through um, just a couple months ago. And, it's a big situation with a lot of people. They announced plans. They were going to renovate Arrowhead this year, but thanks to some developments back in April that rejected a sales tax measure, you know,
Mhm.
this was supposed to fund a new ballpark for the Royals and renovate Arrowhead because St. Louis did Ballpark Village so well
Oh yes.
um, that the Royals kind of want to do the same. And the thing of it is, and we have the good doc. Oh, first off, John, thank you so much for tuning in. God love you, man. It is such a pleasure to having you tune in. And folks, as we hit the 45-minute mark in the show, I want to say thank you so much for tuning in so far to Roundabout Sports. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Carp alongside my dear friend Casey Thomas. And we're on the topic right now of the situation with the Chiefs and the Royals. And Jeremy Housewright says that the Kansas folks should be pissed their elected officials willing to endure a 40-year tax for a sports team. That is the big issue. The fans and the folks in Jackson County, Missouri, they didn't want that. They did not want to have a 40-year, uh, you know, tax that they'd be tied to. Um, that's the catch. Yes, it's I believe it was 3/8 of a cent, but the thing of it is 40 years, everything adds up. Um, and the economy's not always great in Jackson County. I will say that the Chiefs may have to look elsewhere and build a new stadium. You know, it's crazy. It's weird to think about. Um, and of course, Hunt doesn't want to move the team, but he's also gonna do what he has to do. You know,
Yeah, it was a tough decision. I mean, I understand, but I prefer the Chiefs and Royals to stay in Kansas City. I will prefer that. But if that's what they want to do, if that's what they feel like they want, they have to move. I I totally understand that. I would still support them no matter what. 'Cause I still support the Rams.
this complicate what's complicated about this to me is it's similar to the football Cardinals and why they left St. Louis. Bidwell wanted to build a stadium out in Maryland Heights, where Riverport is. It's the benefit of having local St. Louisan on. We both know where the locations are. So out where Riverport is, that's where he wanted the stadium. And the city's like, wait a minute, we ain't trying to have St. Louis. They're like, wait a minute, we ain't trying to have the team all the way out in Maryland Heights. There's a lot of revenue this team's bringing in. And so they ended up moving. Well,
Mm,
Maryland Heights is, about as far to St. Louis as where the K and Arrowhead are to downtown Kansas City right now. Maybe a little closer, but there's a lot of situations going on in Kansas City regarding their stadiums and their teams. Like I said, Kauffman Stadium. It was built in the 70s. Um, and it is, I believe, the sixth or seventh oldest stadium um, in Major League Baseball, if I can remember correctly. It was actually built, yeah, it was built, it broke ground in 68, built in 73, so it's 51 years old.
Yeah, 51
Um,
years. So
51 years old. It's right next to Arrowhead Stadium, of course, which was built in 1968. So you're
mm,
looking at two stadiums that are over half a century old.
yeah,
And with how popular the Chiefs are now, don't get me wrong, Chiefs have always had a
yeah,
loyal fan base, but they
yeah.
are the elite of the NFL. They're the dynasty. They're the
They
big
are.
dogs
Yes, they are.
now.
Yes, they are. Yes, yes, they are. That's
So, you know, I mean, and the good doctor says moving to Kansas wouldn't be a bad thing for either team. It depends how far into Kansas. Overland Park, Lawrence, areas like that, wouldn't be the worst. Even Kansas City, Kansas. Sporting KC's out there, and they have
yeah,
one of the most loyal fan bases in MLS.
for real.
Having this controversy loom over the teams, it's a bad precedent for the legislators, for the elected officials, and for the ownership of both franchises,
Mm.
in my opinion, at least. um, I wanted to ask you this, Casey. What do we've been talking about stadiums. You know, the Cardinals have released, and we've talked about this on the show in the past about wanting to renovate Busch Stadium.
Mm.
What are your thoughts on the experience, the overall feeling of Busch Stadium right now?
Well, I like. I mean, I actually love Bush Stadium too. And as far as when remodeling or renovating it, that's not a bad idea either because it's almost 20 years old. Since it was built in 2006. 2006
Yes.
was when Bush Stadium 2 was built. So it's almost 20 years. They're talking about renovating it. It's not a bad idea. I wouldn't mind. But for one thing, let's say if they were to bring it down and then build it right back up, and for Bush Stadium 3, that's one thing I'm probably looking forward to. Maybe it will happen, maybe it won't. I'm having a feeling it will happen, but maybe it's not that time though. I mean, it's almost 20 years. It's like so that's 20. Yeah, no, wait. That's like uh 17. No, 18 years, right? That's 18 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
So
it's funny. I look at the DeWitt family worth. $4 billion approximately, according to a 2022 estimate, which has only gone up since then. Um, this is how I look at it. St. Louis, the Cardinals obviously are always going to stay here,
yeah,
but I feel like St. Louis has smartened up, at least St. Louisans have smartened up lately to know, hey,
and the Blues. Don't forget the Blues are staying here as well.
oh yeah. But
Yeah.
with the sake of renovations at Busch Stadium, I feel like they're like, look, no. Everybody I've talked to has said, let the DeWitt family pay for it. Because if you're worth $4 billion, even if you have to do 310 million worth of renovations, and let me make it clear, these renovations are mainly for piping and structural stuff. It's not like to bring in new big old fancy video boards and stuff like that. But yes, because me personally, I don't have as much sympathy when a multi-billion-dollar owner, who whatever it is in whatever sport, is going out asking for money from local taxpayers. I just don't, you know, it doesn't resonate with me when they're like, "Oh, here, I need money. Here, help us pay for it." No, you got the money.
Right.
These fans are constantly bringing in revenue for your team, for your franchise, you know. And JM says here, here's an idea. Maybe the Cardinals should give some money to the city and help improve the area. I mean, never hurts. I will say, I think the Ballpark Village area is great.
Yeah.
I do think it's turned out I think it's turned out
It's
fantastic.
it's like bigger than the outfield like they had like years ago. When then we had Bush, then it was like right across from Bush Stadium. It's like people actually want to feel like they're actually in the game though. Like okay, for example, like when I visited my first time going to Ballpark Village, it's like I mean it's like it's not like a village. It was real. It's like a kingdom. That's what you say, like welcome to baseball heaven. That's what it really is. And
Right.
what it is to me, and it's like even the one like let's say the Winter Classic. Of course, I wanted to go inside the stadium, but I didn't have, but I couldn't afford it though because I just started my job and I just gotta you know save up and whatnot. So so ballpark village is like basically like what we had. Those like it's basically like a backup, like it's temporary, but it's like you're still there, although you're not really at the game though. It's like you make you feel like you are though, like we can have those activities and giveaways and whatnot, just like in the stadium. But let's not forget though at the Winter Classic in 2017. Wow, that it was packed. Like it was huge, and I'm looking forward to the next uh, I'm looking forward to the next time they think about doing a winter class, bringing winter classic to St. Louis. That'd be so cool, and I'm really looking forward because next time I will actually be there. Yeah,
I will ask this. Um, and you know, because you and I, like I said, you've been a big Rams fan a long time,
mhm.
and you went to plenty of games at the Dome.
Well, I didn't go to. I watched the games. I only went to one game, and that was in the preseason.
Right.
When
Oh,
they
okay.
yeah, too. So, but I've always watched them though. Since I was still
Well,
a
you did
child.
your research on, how old the Dome is, and we've talked about stadium renovations.
Mhm.
What about the Dome? Right now, the Enterprise Center is fine for the Blues right now, and obviously, City SC doesn't have to worry about any stadium renovations. The Dome, on the other hand, I'm not gonna lie, it needs work.
It definitely needs work. Yes, I totally agree. It needs work. And
And
you talk about remodeling it. It needs a lot of remodeling. It's like it's so like it's like 2000s. I would just put it like that. It's like so 2000s. It's like it's like it's really time to like remodel the place. You got to keep up with the present, no matter how hard you say you want to relive the 90s or you want to relive the 2000s. You want to relive the 2010s. It's not. It's not. Those times are over though. You got to focus on now. I mean, of course, we love the culture and whatnot and the music, but look what's going on now. We have a lot of we have smartphones, we have technology, we have laptops, tablets. That's what we need to focus on. So therefore, yes, it definitely needs a lot of renovating and upgrading. Yes.
right, and I look at it, I feel like the lighting could be a lot better. Um, there's so many great feelings, like in memories being at the Dome, especially as a Battlehawks goer now. But yes, I feel like it's from a structural standpoint, there is a lot of renovation that needs to be done, and like I give it credit for at least hanging in there all these decades. It was built for the sake of playing football, and I
Yeah.
do love that they held the championship game there. They've held professional wrestling there, concerts. I mean, it is a very. They are also adding turf. They are adding new turf to the dome
Oh yeah.
on the field because the one that they had was getting ravaged up.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's all a work in progress. My thing is, once again, I just hope whoever the tenants are of the owners of the dome are don't ask all the taxpayers to pay for all
Yeah.
the renovations.
I feel like that's asking for a little too much. It's yeah. Just like why do you think they Like, why do you think they build the soccer stadium? I figure they
Right.
could use a dome. They could use a dome for soccer. They could, but
That would be very interesting. I'm not going to lie. And when you think about it, having a dome for soccer and having like that big of a crowd go wild, like I will say, when touchdowns are scored in a dome, it's a lot different than when they're scored outside.
yes, yes, yes. I agree.
Um, because the 35,000 fans for a Battlehawks game, especially because it's St. Louis, felt like 65,000.
Well, it said that the first game though, it said it was like over okay between 80 to 90,000 fans showed up, and Stan Kroenke said that St. Louis didn't support football enough when clearly we had over 80,000 to 90,000 fans show up for the first game. I think it was like last year or the year before. I'm like, we've always supported the teams though. This is what we are, a sports city. That's what it is. And
Right.
even during the when the Cardinals were here, why do you think or why do you even think they built the dome in the first place? It's because of that. And then uh, but remember they had to share the stadium though back then, back in the '80s to the early '90s, and yeah, well in the '80s, yeah. When he said that the football Cardinals left in '87, and then the Rams came in '95, and that's when they built the dome. Yeah,
Well, Casey, I got one last question to ask you. First off, once again, I want to say thank you so much for being on this evening. It is an absolute pleasure of mine, and I hope we get to do this again.
yes, me too.
Um, so if you're down for it in the future, I know I am.
Yeah,
Um,
most definitely, yes.
Perfect. I love that. That means so much. So the last question I have for you is looking at where St. Louis is um, when it comes to sports in 2024. Where, like, based off of how we've been in the past few years and everything, where do you rank St. Louis among sports towns?
I say 10, like 10 out of 10, because we've always supported our teams no matter what, and like we're still going strong even without the Rams or without the Cardinals. It's still it's still us. Like no matter what we do, we're still here. We still support our teams no matter what. So I say from 1 to 10, I say 10, 10 out of 10. We are definitely.
All right. I love to hear it. So, all right, folks, we're going to wrap it up here on Roundabout Sports. First, before we go, I want to once again say be sure to check out Filthy Games Room, located at 3479 Newtown Boulevard in St. Charles, Missouri, home of the largest collection of modern and retro video games in the St. Louis metro area, ranging from all the way back to the Magnavox Odyssey and all the way to the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X and all that wonderful newfound technology. Um, Once again, be sure to find them at Mo GameCon this Saturday. You can go on Mo GameCon on Facebook to find out more information about that. Also, we are on Spotify, iTunes, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Pocket Casts. Be sure to follow Interstate 70 Sports Media on Facebook, X, YouTube. Roundabout Sports is on Facebook. You can also find me on Twitch, and of course, personal Facebook, all that stuff. Casey, be sure before I finish it up, let the fans know where they can find your socials or your
Well,
personal.
okay. You can follow me on Instagram. I have two Instagrams. One is Casey Combo Fit, and my second account is Fit Raver Casey. That's fit dot raver dot Casey, and you can also follow me on TikTok, just fit dot raver Casey like that, and my of course my Facebook page Casey Thomas alternate name combo, And also, and Jeremy, I do appreciate you. Do appreciate you for the interview. I hope and also looking forward to doing this again sometime in the future as well. I do appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Of course. You have a good night, my friend. We're going to wrap it up here on Roundabout Sports. Okay, folks, as always, we put up the NAMI helpline. That's 1 800 950 NAMI. 1 800 950 NAMI. It's the National Alliance on Mental Illness. It's the largest nonprofit grassroots mental health organization in the U.S. dedicated to building better lives for those who struggle with mental illnesses and health issues, which understand, folks, are never not important. They always matter. And you always matter, which is why at the end of the show, we put every week the Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. And for that, you dial 988. The line is open 24/7, 365, 366 on leap years. Understand you're never alone in this world. There is always somebody out there who loves you and cares about you, and that we all deserve to thrive together. We strive to thrive. You are just a phone call, a text message, an email, any type of communication. You are just that away from getting the proper resources. We all struggle. We all have our daily struggles, but they shouldn't be traveled alone. And you could also be the listening ears for somebody else who's in need. I want to once again thank Casey Thomas for being on this week. We have a slew of great guests over the next few episodes. This was episode 96, folks, the big countdown to 100. We got some amazing personalities, but we have a great wrestler in store in a few weeks. But we got from KMOX, we got Michael Langston coming up in a few weeks. Andy Heckroth will be on. In the future, we'll have Luke Roberts. In fact, and I will say on August 5th, it's confirmed that Todd Blackstock will be on the show. And on the 100th episode, in addition to Andy Heckroth, former WWE wrestler Rich Swann will be on the show. So I am definitely thankful for that. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for tuning in. I'm the Maestro Jeremy Carp, and remember, life is a book full of empty pages just waiting to be written in. Make your lives worth reading. Good night, everybody.